Hey harmonizers, welcome to this video where we are doing a little horse shopping and we're going to be checking out this little guy here, and I'm going to show you guys in this video some of the things that I'm looking for when I'm horse shopping, what things I notice, what I ask them to do, and just kind of how it all works out, and give you guys some tips of things that you can look for if you're trying out a new horse. So let's get started and we'll take a look at what he looked like before we even got on. So the first thing that I do when I kind of meet a new horse is I do a head-to-toe assessment. And the first thing I notice is that he's got kind of this tumor thing on his eye. So it's kind of hard to see, but it's like this little bulb thing. So it's like, what's that? So the very first thing I did was take pictures and send that off to my vet to do a phone consult. And then we continued on with the rest of the assessment and kind of seeing him. We'd already driven a couple hours out to go see him. So I figured, we may as well see how he goes. And if the vet says, it's something, not a big deal, if we like the horse, we could still get him. So something like that isn't necessarily a deal breaker. But, it definitely is something that should have been disclosed, I think, before we went there, and is a little bit of a red flag. And then after we kind of do a look over his legs and everything like that, we want to kind of see them move freely and see what they look like. And he looks pretty good here. Like, he moves pretty cute. He doesn't look like he's lame or anything like that. But I do start to notice that his pasterns drop a fair bit. So right here, he's going a little bit too fast. It's a little bit too hard to tell, but when he's walking, it's a little bit better. So pasterns are almost like what would be the equivalent of a horse's ankle joint. And I'll show you guys some close-up footage afterwards where I kind of take a closer look at him. But in some instances, they almost seem like they kind of hit the ground. And then here, this is kind of interesting. He really does not want to go to the left. He only wants to go to the right. And so for me, based on him having that big kind of tumor thing on his left eye, I'm thinking, well, maybe he can't see as well to the left and isn't as comfortable going to the left. Now there it's kind of unfortunate because he bent over, and so then the horse turned and looked at him and then thought he was supposed to change direction. And so now he's going to get the stick and he's going to try to get the horse going again. And so he can get the horse going out a little bit, and you can see the horse is a little bit reactive and kind of running off. Now, for me, this isn't all deal breaker stuff. What I'm looking for in my horse shopping here is we need another lesson horse at the farm, because Dreamer's retired and Mystique retired, and some of the horses that we're using that are boarders horses are getting kind of maxed out with what they're taking on, or we're not using them as much anymore because of other reasons. So we need to have another lesson horse that's ours that we can use. So when I went to see this guy, I was kind of thinking, okay, he should be a nice walk trot canter horse. And that's what I told them I was looking for. And I saw, a cute little video of him cantering, and he looked like he was cantering on a nice loose rein, and he looked like he was a pretty good, solid citizen. So I thought, worth checking him out. So here, to come out and see him and first, okay, see the tumor thing, I'm like, okay, might not be the end of the world if he's still a nice little guy. And now I see the dropping pasterns, which we'll take a little closer look at. And then the fact that we see him so reluctant to go to the left, it's like, okay, is this related to your eye being on the left side that you don't like this? Or is this, are you not comfortable? Are you not sound? So it does raise some red flags. And I see that the person that's working this horse now, the person who's working this horse is kind of like a horse trainer dealer kind of guy. So he gets a lot of horses in, he works with a lot of horses. And so, but he's struggling getting this horse to go lunging to the left. And I can see the horse being pretty confused, and I can see different things going on with the drive lines. So I do a lot of teaching with passive leadership and with drive lines, and using that knowledge to get horses to lunge accurately. So if you're interested, I actually have a mini course. It's only $9.99, $9.99. So it's $10. and it goes over what drive lines are, what quadrants are, what passive leadership is, why that matters, and then I actually show you how to lunge. And so here, it starts to kind of escalate a little bit. I can see that he's getting frustrated that the horse isn't lunging, and so I actually kind of step in and I say, you know what, do you mind if I just lunge him to the left? Can I just do it for you? And so this is me asking the horse to lunge to the left. And I skipped, like there's a few minutes of footage here that I skipped before we got to this point here. And for those of you guys that are in the mini course, the passive leadership mini course, I will I'm actually going to add this footage, this whole clip in there, because I think it's a really good real life example of how this all kind of comes to play, our knowledge of drive lines, quadrants, and using that to help a horse lunge and figure out these little pieces. So it's a good example for sure, but he does actually lunge to the left, but for whatever reason he prefers to go to the right. But he has no problem getting his left lead. He's not unsound in his movement or anything like that from what I can see. And then I just ask him to go out a little bit, and then I let him come back into me. And I do notice that when he comes in, he presents his right eye. So you can see he wants to look at me out of that right eye, and I just ask him, can you give me your left eye? And I just kind of think that maybe it's related to that tumor thing potentially blocking his sight. So here's a little closer look at his legs. And so what we're seeing is that the angles of where his ankle joint, which is the fetlock joint on a horse, where it kind of comes down into his hoof, that little area is called a pastern. And it's quite low, and you don't notice it necessarily as much when he's just standing still, although it's his back right now looks pretty dropped there. When he starts to move and walk, it's very they flex so much that they almost hit the ground. And so when I sent the video off to my vet, luckily my vet was available and I was able to get in touch with him after we were all done. And I'll share with you guys what he said at the end, towards the end of the video. But here is the guy getting on the horse. So because we're looking for a lesson horse, I want to see a horse that stands quietly to get on. And I really do like this horse's personality. He seems pretty willing. He tries. And he does seem pretty calm in a lot of respects. And I think he would have a good personality for what we were looking for. But I don't think that he's as far along in his training as maybe we were led to believe before we came out. So this is the guy kind of riding the horse around a little bit, and he's showing us, the circles and the walk trot, and eventually you'll see him cantering a little bit. And what I'm noticing is the horse seems a little bit worried, a little bit tense, that he's being a little bit quick. And so he's doing a lot of those circles to help him kind of slow down a little bit. Circles are good things to help horses slow down. I noticed that he's a little bit bracy in the bit and kind of opening his mouth a little bit, gaping on it a little bit, and his movement's kind of fast. So he's not looking like he's naturally a slow jogger horse. He's definitely got a bigger stride. So when I say stride, if you look at his legs, he really reaches, like he really brings his legs out in front of him and kind of extends his legs all the way out. He's not just kind of puttering along. So if you compared him to, let's say, a video of Alicia tends to want to kind of putter along naturally, which makes her really good for, sometimes we'll use her in beginner lessons as a backup horse. And my coaches love using her because she's pretty lazy. She's not eager to go. She doesn't get anywhere really fast at all. And so that works out really well as a lesson horse. So here he's going around, like there you can see he kind of gaped a little bit in his mouth, which means that he's opening his mouth as he's going around. And when he goes into the canter, I noticed that he was pinning his ears a bit into the transition. So I'm just like, okay, I'm paying attention to that. So here now, after he kind of went around on the horse, this is now Franny on the horse. And he did canter the horse both directions. I just cut out some of the footage because it's getting to be a long-ish video, so I didn't want to make it too long. So this is Franny, who came out to ride for me. Love Franny to bits. She helps me with a lot of the horse stuff, and she's been a student of mine for a really long time. And of course, because I'm preggo, I didn't want to be getting on strange horses just in case something happened. So she's hopping on the horse here, and she started with some walking stuff first and just some turning and stopping, making sure she had brakes and steering before she started playing around with the trot and things like that. And what we're testing out as a potential lesson horse is the horse smooth? Is the horse comfortable to ride? And we also want to see, okay, if we do give you the reins, are you the type of horse that's going to kind of slow down and come to a stop, or are you going to just get faster and faster and faster and get kind of scary? That is not what we're looking for in this particular lesson horse. We're looking for a horse that's more going to be really good to teach kids or teach adults how to canter. So we want a horse that if you start to lose your balance and lose your rein, that you're going to kind of default to a stop and kind of, if anything, think, oh, okay, I'm going to be lazy and slow down. We don't really want a horse for what we're looking for to be the type that's go-y and wants to get going if you drop those reins or things like that. And you have to know what you're looking for before you go head out to a horse and see them, because the quality of being kind of go-y or being more woey is not good or bad. It just depends on what you're looking for. If you're looking for a horse to compete in dressage, you don't want the woey horse, because you need the horse to have a bit of an engine to be able to collect them and do the movements that you want to for dressage. So it really just depends on what your goals are and what you're after. And for us, we're specifically looking for a horse with a nice canter that will be good for teaching students how to canter. So here, Franny's riding around on him, and we never like to judge a horse really harshly when we first get on them. You know, things are new, things are different. So we want to kind of, feel them out a little bit. And here we notice he is pinning his ears again. And I was telling Franny, try to do some more loose rein riding on him. So you can see she kind of lets go of her reins a little bit. And even though in the beginning we thought, okay, he's going to be pretty fast, he's going to be potentially not what we would be looking for, when she actually starts to drop the reins and whatnot, and they kind of relax together, he actually slows down a fair bit, and he doesn't run off at all. He doesn't try to take advantage of those loose reins or get worried by that and start to run off with them at all. He seems pretty level-headed. He wanted to check in there by the gate with me there, standing there. So I was really happy with how he responded to that, and that he really wasn't worried by that. And again, because we're looking for that kind of chill lesson horse, that's what we want to see. Now, it's interesting that he pins his ears. He actually kind of turned his head back towards Franny's foot there. I kind of almost missed it on the footage. But he pins his ear. There he does it again. See how he comes around? He really wanted to bite her foot there. So that's really peculiar. So that's, whenever we see something like that, we're thinking, okay, look how grumpy you are at the canter. Is this because you think that we're going to make you do 10 laps and you're going to, be tired? Is it because you're in pain? We don't really know. So I'm just going to show you a clip of us checking out his back. So after we finished, we got off and we checked out his back. We wanted to really feel, did he have any spots where he was really tight? And he had a little bit in his mid back there where he kind of looked back at me, but really no major flinching or anything, whether I'm running my fingers down pressing or if I'm kind of feeling for different spots. There was no major thing that we could see. So I'll just show you another little clip here of him going around. So we ended up getting a hold of my vet and sending them the picture of the tumor and showing him a couple video clips of him walking and those dropping pasterns. And he basically said that even though this horse seems to have a good brain, because he's already 12 this year, and because of what we want to do in the lesson program sometimes involves a little bit of jumping or doing poles, doing obstacles, like we want to have a variety of stuff to do. His opinion was that it'd be better off to not purchase this horse, and his confirmation would kind of lead him to be sore at some point in his life or get lame, and we just don't know when. And the fact that he kind of does all of this pinning ears while he's cantering, could be pain related or discomfort. So it might be related. We don't know. And so I really liked his little personality, and I thought, oh, he could be really nice. But for the money that they were asking for him, they wanted $4,000 for him, and I felt like that, with all of the potential health issues that we would have to sort out, that was over budget. So we didn't end up purchasing him, not because of his brain, but because of the physical aspects. So let me know what you guys think, and let me know if you would have made a different decision.